Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in Jew. I'm very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. And welcome to, is it Monday? Welcome to Monday's edition of the dceu Daily. And although the Joker movie isn't part of the dceu, I think I'm definitely going to have to call these videos something else, but I want you people to come in and watch because we're still talking about what we're talking about. But obviously, it's part of the DC world of movies, so this is what these videos are all about. So I do want to talk about Joker again, but mainly I want to talk about Walter Hamada, our Sting leader. Yes, just after Justice League, it was announced that Walter Hamada would run the DC film division. Now, this kind of crept in while we were really bitching and angry and broken-hearted about Justice League. So we didn't take much notice. You know who else didn't take much notice? The MCU fans. But you can bet your bottom dollar an intelligent man like Kevin Feige knew there was trouble ahead for his universe. Because, not just because Walter Hamada is a genius, and really only people, I think those of us who work within the industry who know of Walter and know his genius, and obviously we all know what he achieved over on New Line Cinema, but nobody kind of thought much of him being appointed as the head of DC Films. And I think a lot of people thought it was a temporary position. It's not. He's there for good. And I think when we look at Joker movie and what he and Todd Phillips have come up with here is something extremely special. And it says a lot. And I mean, it's a very interesting situation over at DC Films because you got Wonder Woman 1984, really, which I don't really think Walter was involved in at all. It's still part of that umbrella of Zack and Deborah Snyder. So that's interesting. So I've seen the test screening, and I think people will be very surprised about the film. And I'm not going to say anything but that's an interesting situation, which I think will develop as the film is marketed and we see trailers. And we'll talk more about that when the first trailer is out. And I would assume maybe from October, November, December time. So bring on the winter. No, I love the summer. Wearing my boxers and my T-shirt, sun shining. It's beautiful, right? Anyway, right. So you look at Joker. You look at the buzz for it. A potential Venice Film Festival winner. A potential Oscar nominee for many, categories. That's just amazing. I've actually got a spider under my feet. Great, but I'm not stopping. I'm a pro, and I'm going to carry on. It really is amazing. Now, don't get me wrong. Not everyone is going to like Joker. I've also seen the test screening of that movie. I think it's one of the top, I'd say definitely top 10 films I've ever seen in my lifetime. And I mean, I put the JFK movie and Born on the 4th of July, both directed by Oliver Stone, in that category. It's in there. Now, I want to talk about something that you're going to think is a bit nuts, but I think we could have the first billion-dollar R-rated movie. Has an R-rated movie ever made $1 billion? I don't think so. Now, obviously, an R-rated movie kind of shrinks its audience level, but mathematically, I've worked it out. It's not actually impossible for Joker movie to actually make $1 billion. It's very unlikely, I agree. But mathematically, look, the Joker is a massive brand name. It's one of those few characters in the universe of a superhero like Batman. I know some people don't like Batman being called a superhero. But the point is, he's one of the few characters, part of another character's world, who's actually as big as that character. The Joker is as big and is as popular as Batman. This film potentially could not only be critically acclaimed and be nominated for awards and win awards, because the Venice Film Festival is happening this month, right? So we're going to find out very soon if it wins or not. If it doesn't win, it's no big deal. Just that it was entered as a nominee is amazing. Because let's face it, no other comic book movie has ever had that honour before, right? So I do think that SJWs are not going to like this film because SJWs don't like good content. SJWs like things that make statements. But this film makes a statement, but not a statement SJWs are going to like. Now, why is that, you're asking me? Right, well, basically, right, let me tell you from watching the thing, right, this is, as we know, Joaquin Phoenix is a white man. The Joker is a white man. I mean, I'm sure one day he may be played by a gentleman of colour, but for now, he's a white man, right? SJWs are not going to like that. I'm already hearing them saying that this is a sympathetic look at someone that kills people and causes harm and misery. It's not a sympathetic look. What it's saying is, here's an ordinary man living an everyday life. He clearly has mental health problems, but the system has forced him to have to look after his own ill mother, right? He wants to become a comedian. He wants to be an entertainer. He is a nice guy, but everybody treats him like fucking shit. And the kind of, I think, what they're trying to say, and this is very real, because from someone who has suffered and is suffering from mental health problems, and I hope I've got kind of a wrap around it now, but you've never got a complete wrap around it. There was a time when I was kind of growing up and I was rejected by people and I got really bitter and twisted. Now, I didn't become the Joker. I didn't kill anyone or do anything bad or anything, but I'm just saying this is what society does. It rejects people, when they're not, when they're not like everybody else. And the character of Arthur Fleck is really trying hard to get a wrap around his mental health problems. He wants to support his mother. He's listening to her advice. She's told him that he's got to make people smile. But that harms his mental health as well as inspires him to be something great because he can't handle it. He's not funny. He can't make people laugh. He's a failure. And society and the people around him are kicking him when he's down, apart from one woman, right? And I don't want to go into her character or anything like that. But basically, right, he's got nobody. And in the end, he breaks. And there's so much more to this movie. And I know there's a lot of leaks, but I think, as one of the pundits critics said, they were literally rewriting this movie on the hop. So even if you have seen a script leak, it might be there or thereabouts. But look, I don't care. I don't know how you got these script leaks. I'm not interested in them. Obviously, I have the honour of seeing the test screening, and I'm very proud of that. But this is one of the best films ever made. It's as simple as that. And let me be clear here. No matter what agenda you've got to kind of knock this film off its perch, it's not going to work. This film is going to be protected by people who love it. It's going to make a lot of money. It's going to be nominated for awards. It's going to win awards. Look, I've had to sit there all year after rubbish movie and after rubbish movie. Now, I know a lot of people are saying some nice stuff about The Boys. I haven't seen The Boys yet, and I definitely will give it a review if and when I ever see it. But Joker movie has, for me, always been the film that people were going to be talking about. People were saying Endgame was the movie of the year. Never going to happen. When you cast Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker, when you bring in Todd Phillips to write and direct the movie, it's going to be big. It's going to be massive. When talented people create great works of art, something special is happening here. Nobody spoke about Walter Hamada when he walked in. We're all busy screaming, release the Snyder Cut. Oh, Warner Brothers are terrible. But meanwhile, Warner Brothers did have a plan. It proves they wanted to get rid of Zack and his creative team for a very long time and bring in Walter. And now they've got this mixture of the DCEU movies and these offshoot kind of DC dark movies. It's interesting. They're calling it the Black Label, or we're all calling it the Black Label. Warner Brothers aren't saying anything right now, although Todd Phillips has come out and said it is a Black Label of movies. And I can't wait. And very soon, they're going to announce the next movie. And I think this is going to be exciting as well. Excuse my throat, it's terrible. But I think that's very exciting because in years to come, we're going to say, what's the next Black Label movie announced? And I think this is always going to be remembered as the pioneer movie. Things are about to change. Real movies are coming back. Do you know what? Every morning before I do this video, I scroll on my Twitter feed, and every morning I hear, Disney break box office records, Disney break box office records, and I think, but I don't care about a company making money. It's not my money. Why do I care? I want to see great entertainment. And this generation is starving for great movies. Well written, well performed. I was thinking about it the other day when you got Hemsworth as Thor, and I'm thinking, well, he's a solid enough actor, but you're not talking about the actors I grew up with. De Niro, Pacino, even Cruise. Watch Tom Cruise in Born on the 4th of July. One of the great silver screen performances, big screen performances you'll ever see. Oliver Stone, great director. Those kind of directors have gone out of fashion, but Todd Phillips is going to bring them back. So be very aware that SJWs are going to be screaming white men this, white men that, but you've got to ignore that, because that noise is going to be muffled by the applause this film is going to get. What Walter Hamada is achieving is amazing. Shazam, made on a budget, made 4 times its budget. I saw someone making a list of failed DC movies this year, but you've got to ignore that. Shazam isn't a failure, it's a success. And if it wasn't a success, there wouldn't be a sequel and a Black Adam movie coming, both being shot next year, by the way. You know, studios don't work with failures. That's why the DCEU has changed leadership, right? I'm not calling Zack Snyder a failure if that's what you think. I'm not. But at the end of the day, he couldn't reach the market any studio and any business need. It's as simple as that. And Walter Hamada is attempting something very ambitious. And if it succeeds, and already we're seeing the Joker movie is tipped to have the same opening as Aquaman. Yes, an R-rated movie is getting tipped as a movie, a mainstream movie that made over $1 billion. And this is why I'm starting to think that something special is not just happening with this film and the kind of things it's getting nominated for. And I always assumed the box office would be low, but WB and Water would be quite happy with that because they didn't spend a lot of money on it. So even if it made 500, 600 million, it doesn't matter. They get their money back and they make a little bit of profit, and you still got home video and things like that and kind of Netflix and all that jazz, right? But it looks like this film is going to do well in every avenue, critically, awards and box office. It looks like, and I don't know why I ever underestimated the box office, and a few of us just thought, nah, but this is the Joker. We know how popular the Joker is. I think we're looking at $1 billion R-rated movie. This would be sensational. But the buzz for this movie is off the rock. It's off the scale. I've never seen anything like it, especially for an R-rated movie. Now, everyone loved Logan, and it did okay money. But I think this is something special. I think this is something like we've never seen before. The brutality. This may not be the Joker from your comics, but it's the Joker. He becomes the Joker. He is the Joker. But we see the powerful way a man in this society can fall down from grace. Now, it's interesting because this is kind of set in kind of the 70s, right? That's interesting. Even looks like it actually looks like it was made in the 70s, not just that it was set in the 70s. That's really interesting. But basically, if a comic book movie can win an Oscar, we don't know if it will. If a comic book movie can win a Venice Film Festival, and if it can bring home big box office on an R-rated rating, then Walter Hamada can stay. Absolutely. Because he's got these kind of fun, family DCEU movies, and then he's got these offshoot Black Label. So everyone gets what they want, because this was the problem with the early DCEU. I loved the dark and the grit of it. I did, and the realism. But for mainstream audiences and what Warner Brothers wanted, it didn't work. So they sat down while Zack was still doing his thing and said, what can we do here? They bring in Walter Hamada in, and he says, let's give them the best of both worlds. The family movies and then the dark movies. Because when people come and see a Black Label movie, they're not going to say it's too dark, because they went into that cinema, put their butts in that seat, because it's a dark, relatable, realistic movie. So are you excited about the Joker movie? I'm absolutely ecstatic for all you to see it, because Cinema is changing again. Gone are the days when Disney can dominate everything with bad movies, with average movies, like the Spider-Man Far From Home. They'll make money. They'll make $1 billion, but it will be an ongoing joke because everyone will say, shit movies making money. And look, hey, Disney are happy, right? But Warner Brothers are going to be making money and getting critical acclaim for their DC movies. That, my friends, is publicity, marketing, and something incredibly special for the audience and the consumer. Actually, films we can consume again and again because these people are making modern day classics. The Joker movie is a modern day classic. And I tell you what, once you watch it, you'll want to be on that ride again and again.